from the rumors we've been hearing about Russell Wilson, if those are true, he's like a flippin' supervillain. Like he's like an actual supervillain of the NFL.
Zane, you haven't even watched the Broncos play. I don't want to see you go.
Five
You
game
haven't
win streak.
you haven't even watched them play.
5 game win streak. I can't get a read on you. When they're winning, you love them, and then they lose 2 games, and now you're just like, oh, offense is trash. I can't get a read on you. What do you like them or not?
The offense left a lot out on the table. Russ wasn't pushing the ball down the field. Jerry Jeudy's still a mess. I still don't like Jerry Jeudy. If I have to watch Javonte trip over his foot another 3rd and 2 with a hole the size of Texas in the A gap, I'm going to lose my mind.
Sean Payton was yelling at Russell Wilson. You clocked it immediately that there was trouble in the locker room and there was going to be problems.
He hasn't lived up to 145 mil.
If I was the Bears, I would trade my #1 pick for Joe Flacco.
Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like Dom singing.
So let's start talking about the NFL playoffs. So right now, as things stand, Baltimore appears to be locked into, yes, Baltimore is locked into the #1 seed in the AFC. Miami follows in the 2. KC right now is 3. Jacksonville sneaking into the playoffs at 4. Cleveland currently is locked in at, I don't know if they're locked into the playoffs, but they're not necessarily locked into 5, I believe. And then Buffalo is at 6 right now. Indiana heads up the AFC. And then you've got Houston and Pittsburgh in the hunt. No offense, T-Dog, but I would rather see CJ.
Houston.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Houston
than I would the Colts, because they're not really going to go anywhere.
It's crazy.
I think it's bizarre that the Bills are in the hunt over the Browns. I guess that's how much of a.
What do you mean?
Because the Bills are in the hunt, and then the Browns have clinched a playoff spot. I thought the Browns were number 5.
The Browns are 5, and Buffalo's in the playoffs right now at 6. Houston and Pittsburgh are in the hunt.
So the one I saw, it was Houston and Pittsburgh were in the bubble, while
yeah, they're in the hunt.
Yeah, but then it said in the hunt was Buffalo. It was like the CBS one that I was looking at.
I don't know what you were looking at.
So Buffalo's in the playoffs, confirmed.
Buffalo is the 6th seed. They're not locked
6th
in. They're not locked in yet, but they're in the playoffs currently.
Who are they most likely to play in the playoffs?
KC.
KC? All right, prediction.
So right now, Baltimore has the bye. Miami would play Indiana. KC would play Buffalo, and then Jacksonville and Cleveland would play.
Oh yeah, who it was Miami and who played this week? Miami and who?
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Baltimore's kicker, didn't they kick like 6 field goals to
5.
beat Miami? 5 field goals to beat Miami?
No, Miami kicked 5 field goals. He was like the only source of points for Miami. But I mean, the Ravens are they look like the best team in football right now.
Yeah, and what was funny is that like that's my team, and I forgot about them. Like I didn't realize they were that good. Like I thought they were in that sort of. I thought Miami was better than Baltimore. Like I don't think anybody was really looking at Baltimore as an actual like Super Bowl contender.
Not because everyone thought it was fake, but then they went and beat the Niners, and I mean, when you go beat the Niners, it's pretty. You got to pay attention.
I also think there was a lot of like backfield trouble that took up a lot of the media space. Also, like Shannon Sharp like saying that Lamar's not an MVP took it all up. So it kind of took away from how good they were actually doing. Because I had no idea that Baltimore's defense was the #1 defense in the league.
They've been quietly a really good team. I mean, yeah, like everyone's just kind of looked at them as like they're not for real until the last couple weeks. But the most interesting thing for me here is, despite them having the bye, Cleveland is gonna play the Jags, and they're gonna beat the ever living daylights out of Jacksonville in the playoffs. We like opening round of the playoffs, and then that means that they're gonna go play Baltimore. And if there's anyone that can get that job done against Baltimore, it's Daddy Flacco and the Cleveland Browns.
That's gonna be a great game.
It's an in-division rival. You have two of the best defenses in the league. The Browns beat them earlier this year. And that was, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was, I mean, Joe Flacco's looked better than Deshaun Watson this year. So
100%. I think
if you're
it
getting
was
beat with, I believe it was Deshaun Watson under center. So, I mean, if he can beat you, then you put a guy who's actually going to sling the rock. Amari Cooper should be healthy for that game. Well, I'd assume, hopefully he doesn't get injured against the Jags, but that's going to be a scary second round.
Yeah, the stat was Joe Flacco has thrown more passing TDs than Kenny Pickett has thrown his entire career in the NFL.
Yeah.
In these past 3 weeks. That's just the type of caliber that he's playing at right now is incredible.
And if the guy goes and wins, he currently is, I think it's 2 wins off of being the NFL road champion in the playoffs currently. So if he goes and he beats Jacksonville and then he goes and he beats Baltimore, he becomes the all-time winning QB in the postseason on the road.
Oh yeah, he deserves it too.
That's crazy. This is such a crazy story. What does this mean? What does this mean legacy? What does this change? Like, let's go into symposium here and Joe Flacco wins a Super Bowl. Joe Flacco wins a Super Bowl. What does this mean for Joe Flacco? Where do we put him?
Yeah, where do we put him all time? I'm saying where did we put him before?
Chill out.
Where did we put him before? Where did we put him before?
He wasn't even in the conversation.
Yeah, he only had 1. Now he's coming back off the couch. Now he has 2.
He comes back off the couch. He gets 2. He leads them to a 4-1 record, I guess. I think it would be in the end of the season, and then wins them a Super Bowl in the playoffs.
Like winning that $3 million while he does it,
bro. That would be one of the craziest stories in the NFL ever.
I'm saying off of the hype, I'm putting him top 10.
That would be crazy. That's crazy.
QBs all time. I mean,
top 10 ever.
List 10. Let's list
Ever's
10 better
crazy. Ever's really crazy. Tom's number 1. You got, and then after that, you got Peyton.
Okay.
Drew Brees.
Joe Montana.
Kirk Cousins.
Troy Aikman. Did you say Kirk Cousins? Pat's
Who's
in there.
Aaron Rodgers, of course.
Aaron Rodgers is in there.
Who's the old guy? Who's that? Who's the old QB?
No, we need guys.
Dan Marino, I put before Joe Flacco. Sorry,
right,
even though he's never won a Super Bowl.
I thought you were about to say Terry Bradshaw. I was like, we need the league to have black corners for it to count.
The guy started when he was like 30. And
Kurt Warner.
Yeah, Kurt Warner.
I wouldn't put him in the top 10. Would you, Trav?
He'd be close. He was on the Greatest Show on Turf, and he won a Super Bowl. I mean, if you're gonna put Dan Marino, then I'd put Kurt Warner and Kirk Cousins. No, just kidding.
Kurt Warner. Okay.
Where's Josh Dobbs go into all of this? Huh?
Shut the hell up. Who else? Last one.
Not Joe Montana, but the other Niners quarterback.
Steve Young.
Steve Young.
So I mean, there's 10 right there. I don't think he's in that conversation. I mean,
then what? Top 15, top 20? Have all those quarterbacks you guys listed won 2 Super Bowls or more? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
Dan Marino's never won a Super Bowl.
Dan Marino's the only one.
Yeah, and you're putting him. I mean, we go back to the conversation about going to the Super Bowl 4 times versus winning one Super Bowl.
Here's the thing. Only thing, like, not to discredit Joe Flacco from this year or from did they win a Super Bowl with the Ravens?
Super Bowl with the Ravens and Super Bowl MVP.
Not to discredit any of those, but his defenses on both teams were absolutely.
But in this case, though, he's slinging the rock.
I know he's slinging it, but like the fact that he's only played like 5 games so far. I mean, the defense is carried. Nick Foles. Yeah, but their offense was nice too before Nick Foles. Carson Wentz was good that year. The rest of
Okay,
their
but
offense
the
was good.
but the Browns offense wasn't good really like that good until Flacco got there. He's elevated that team.
Yeah, out of everything that you could possibly discredit a quarterback for, I feel like having a great defense is the last thing you put on that list.
I mean, I
Like
get it.
it has nothing to do with the way Joe Flacco plays. It's not like the Brock Purdy conversation where he's got a Pro Bowler in every skill slot. This is completely different. This
I'm
is
not. s-
the other side of the ball plays really well, and then Joe Flacco also plays really well. I don't think you can discredit him because he has a good defense.
I'm not discrediting. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if they win a Super Bowl, I wouldn't be like they only won it. They only won this because of Joe Flacco. I'd say they won it because of their defense.
I think most Super Bowl games are won on both sides of the ball.
I feel like it depends on if they, let's say they go to the Super Bowl, it depends on how he plays. Because if he goes out there and it's like a 30 something game and Joe Flacco throws for 3 touchdowns, like 1 interception and throws for like 300, 350.
Which that's what he's been doing. He's
Right.
been a touchdown machine, a yardage
Like
monster. Like he's been playing great.
if he goes out there and does something like that though, that's
If he
and he
if he goes out and throws 3 touchdowns against the Ravens, then yes, I would say that he's the man. He did it. But that's
Right.
what
And
I'm
this is
saying.
I
I
mean,
don't
this
know
is
if that's he's gonna do that against like the Ravens defense.
the
it's
better
based
question here. Go ahead. Go ahead, Zane.
it's basically the 49ers situation, except for they have less weapons because they both have great defenses and both teams, their quarterback is getting discredited because of the rest of their team.
Yeah. Either
All right, you
way,
go, Dev.
I think the better question here is what is in store for Joe Flacco next year? Where does he go? Because there's no way that a team is going to pass up on having him next year
And he
after
wants to
this.
play. He loves playing the game of football. I think
Steelers?
It just depends on a lot of offseason stuff and draft stuff to
It
where
really
there's a
does.
little so many variables to like
He's
it's
not
way
going to
too
go to
early
one
to
of those.
tell.
He's not going to go to one of those bad teams that's drafting, though. I don't think he's going to be going to a team like Steelers that want to contend right now. If
you know what I'm
if
thinking.
if the Vikings aren't able to get Kirk Cousins, something like that could be in the cards.
That's
Here's
that's what
a
I was gonna say. The
here's a
Vikings.
here's a wild card here that is kind of outlandish, but I could see it happening. Is the Niners?
No shot.
I'm just saying, like it's outlandish, but let's say, let's go like, would you rather have Sam Darnold or Joe Flacco back in Brock Purdy up?
I would rather have Joe Flacco, but I mean, I think he's playing too good to be a backup right now.
But what if
Especially with
but what if the league doesn't? What if the league is like, okay, this is a one-off, and he ends up becoming a backup quarterback for somebody and then somebody goes down. That is what I see happening more so because I think the league is trending towards younger quarterbacks. So if anything, he's going to be like a high upside backup. Maybe like the only other team I could see that's shambles and them taking Flacco because they don't know how to draft is the Giants.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. I could also see the Bears taking him. I don't know. I don't feel like he
The
fits.
Bears?
Yeah.
Bro, they've got the number 1 pick and the 5th pick. They're not taking Flacco, and they've got Justin Fields. They might
know,
take
but
2 quarterbacks in the draft and say, "All right, we're gonna figure out who our quarterback is right now."
I
And
know,
then
but
and they'll get Joe Flacco. They'll have 4 quarterbacks on roster, all compete that competition level. That's what you need for the
Oh my
I think
gosh.
he fits well with the Bears better than he does with San Francisco. I don't think a long ball guy like Joe Flacco would be needed
Are you
in San Francisco's
crazy,
49ers
bro?
offense.
In the Niners offense, I disagree with that.
I don't think he'd be needed. I don't I
there's too many variables to even get. Like I said, like there's gonna be trades, draft pick trades. Like it's hard to even say what. I don't know.
Okay, so
He might just even stick on the Browns. Who knows?
yeah. So then we touched on the Ravens. There's 2 other things I want to talk about that's been like there's one thing that's been controversy throughout the week, and then the other one is just like a touch on, we brought him up, but let's talk about Justin Fields and his audition for his next team. I am sticking to my guns. I'm a true believer. I don't think that he's going to be a Bear next year. So, and he's been playing well. He's been
So
playing
what
great.
happened? What happened to the Bears having Justin Fields, and that's why Joe Flacco is not going over?
Well, because they have 2 top 5 picks, Zane. They're not going to take Joe Flacco. They're going to take either Caleb Williams or Drake May.
According to Caleb,
If I was the Bears, I would trade my number 1 pick for Joe Flacco.
oh yeah, but yeah, this is, I don't know. I would like to see Justin Fields on the 49ers more than I'd like to see Flacco there.
Wait,
What did you what? Bro, what you
What?
you want to
before
see
you came on
Justin
here?
Fields on the 40?
What'd you smoke before you came on here, bro?
Would
You're
he not?
wildin'.
What do you guys? Would he not be great on the 49ers?
He could be great, but he would never end up there.
No. What?
I don't know. You guys weren't saying anything, so I'm saying, like, what's the best place for Justin Fields to go? I think the best place for any quarterback to go is the 49ers.
Yeah, but that's not
But
even
not
in
when
the
they have
realm
a
of
potential
possibility.
MVP as their starting quarterback. I
We
don't think
already know how I
they're
feel
gonna end up
about
being
that.
a backup quarterback.
All right,
All right,
let's
where are you
move
guys
on.
putting him? No, where are you guys putting him? You guys haven't even. You
Joe
guys wanted.
Flacco?
No, Justin Fields. Where is he going? Where is he auditioning? Where are you guys putting him? You guys didn't say where you're
The
going to put him.
Falcons.
Falcons?
Yeah.
Why is he going to the Falcons?
It just their system makes sense for him. They don't want to utilize Bijan, so having a dual threat quarterback like that makes a lot of sense. He's got a gun, and so like you've got your stars, you've got Kyle Pitts, you've got Drake London. It's a young group. They're clearly willing to put garbage out on the field every week, and Justin Fields is way better than that. So they're not going to be in a hurry to bench him or move on from him. At least they shouldn't be.
Sorry, I just can't. The way that you said he's got a gun, and then you're like, he's got a gun. It just made me laugh because it's like, he's got a gun. He can go wherever he wants.
He's got a gun.
He's got a gun. No, I think the Falcons makes the most sense for Justin Fields next year. What do you think, Trav?
No, I was actually gonna say the same because the fact that they're not using Bijan with Justin Fields, I feel like they could run like read option. So now
It's like Michael Vick 2.0.
now they don't have to force feed Bijan and have him have 40 carries a game.
But they don't.
But they can I know, but now they don't have to now they can distribute it into where they have 2 people to run the ball instead of no one to run the ball, I guess. It kind of just makes it easier, I feel like, to spread
Now
it
they
out.
can actually be somewhat successful running the garbage offensive scheme that they're running, where they don't give Bijan the ball.
Precisely.
That'd be a selfish move by the Falcons head coach, just to do that, just so like he's not called an idiot for not giving Bijan the ball. I could definitely see it happening.
So the last thing I want to get to, which I think is, I have been in like, I haven't known what to think all week from a Broncos standpoint with this Russell Wilson thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what to think because
I thought you would be floored. I thought you'd be the happiest man on the planet, knowing that they're kicking Russell Wilson to the curb, whether he wants to be there or not.
it's not that. It's more so I'm not excited about it because it doesn't, in some ways, it doesn't help us in terms of getting a free agent, but in another light, they're going to go, like, the free agent's going to go where the money is. And if the Waltons are willing to write the check, then they'll go.
Yeah, I
But-
definitely don't think you want to be like a fan of a team who does that to players. And I don't think it's a good look as a team to be like, hey, like, just depending on what we feel like's best for us, we're just going to force you out of our team, whether you like it or not, even though
Well-
you've been playing great and outstanding.
I don't know about outstanding, but from like
There
I
he
get
goes
it from
again.
I get it from both sides. Like I get from Russell Wilson's side, it was completely unprofessional how they handled this. But from the Broncos side, he hasn't lived up to 145 mil. Like, he really hasn't. Zane, you haven't even watched the Broncos play. I don't want to see you go.
5-game win streak.
You haven't even watched them play.
5-game win streak.
Okay, they ran 9 plays during that 5-game win streak. 9 of them. Our defense carried that entire
What
time.
I can't get a read on you. I have no idea if you like the Broncos, if you like Russell Wilson. When they're winning, you love them, and then they lose 2 games, and now you're just like, oh, offense is trash. But before you were like flipping, what's his name, Trav? What's the good guy?
Cortland
Sutton. Yeah, you're like, Sutton's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm taking
he
him on
still
the
is.
black versus white bowl. Russell Wilson's playing great. They're doing all the little things correctly. And then now you're like, oh, they only ran 9 plays. That their offense sucks. I can't get a read on you. What do you like them or not?
No, Cortland Sutton's still good. I still like Cortland Sutton. That hasn't changed anything. And everything I said, I stand by. They were doing the little things, but the offense left a lot out on the table. Like, Russ wasn't pushing the ball down the field. Jerry Jeudy's still a mess. I still don't like Jerry Jeudy. If I have to watch Javonte trip over his foot another 3rd and 2 with a hole the size of Texas in the A gap, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay.
I do want to say you clocked this from afar. When Sean Payton was yelling at Russell Wilson, you clocked it immediately that there was trouble in the locker room and there was going to be problems. And then here we go. We're seeing what's happening.
Yeah, the thing is, I think it's personal between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. I don't know how much of it is Sean Payton getting back at Russell Wilson for Pete Carroll trying to fire him. I've heard that rumor, but I don't really buy into that. More so for me, I don't think Sean Payton wanted Russell Wilson to begin with. I just don't think he wanted him there. I just don't think he likes him. And clearly he doesn't, being that, yes, they won those games, but like I said, there was a lot left out on the field. He wasn't pushing the ball down the field, and it's a really complicated system that Sean Payton wants to run, and Russell Wilson just wasn't running it. And the problem for me is a rookie quarterback, let's say you draft. If Russell Wilson, a 14-year QB, can't figure it out, a rookie's not going to either.
True.
And if you go get a guy in free agency, there's no promise he's going to get it either. So it's like, I like Sean Payton and I'd like to see what he can do, but you can't turn the Broncos into the Saints, and you can't bring Drew Brees out of retirement. So you're going to have to budge a little bit.
Yeah. I do want to say, from the rumors we've been hearing about Russell Wilson, if those are true, he's like a flipping supervillain. Like, he's like an actual supervillain of the NFL. If he's this nice guy personality, and then he was trying to get Pete Carroll fired, trying to get all these different guys out of the Seahawks system to like get them, like get what he wants. Like, if that's true, this man has been playing us all, and he's actually just like a real life supervillain.
I don't doubt it. He's a diva. We heard about it. That's why Seattle didn't want him. Like, he wasn't playing up to snuff, and he was like, just look at everything that Sean Payton came out the very first press conference and talked about that wasn't going to be happening anymore with Team 3. Like, Russell Wilson is a diva. I'm sure when this divorce is signed, papers are, issued, there's going to be a lot that comes out on both sides talking about it, but I just don't know what to think. I don't know what we're going to do. We don't have, like, best case scenario is that Michael Penix drops in the draft for some reason. Like, Lamar wins the MVP and then, or not wins the MVP, but wins the Super Bowl, and it's a copycat league. So then they take Jaden Daniels goes 1, Caleb Williams goes 2, and then Bo Nix and what's his nuts, Drake May go earlier, and then Penix drops to 14, and we're able to grab him. But still, like, you're still building, and there's no promises there, especially with a rookie QB. So I just don't know I don't know what their idea is here. I don't know what their plan is at all. I can't read it at all.
I think Sean Payton's plan is to do the same thing that he's been doing at the Saints and not budge.
It's not going to go well.
I think Sean Payton, as soon as he got there, decided, I don't want Russell Wilson. He already made up his mind.
I think
since the
before
day
he got there.
Yeah, before he even got there. I think he's trying something else.
Yeah, I mean, in a
He's trying to move
contact
on.
sport, it's very hard to like a person who's like the Mr. Nice Guy when what you want is killers on your team. Right? Like you want a Max Crosby as your edge rusher. You want a flippin' Derrick Henry as your running back. Like you want dogs. And it's hard to have a team full of dogs when you have Russell Wilson there.
Yeah.
Like we even heard from Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch only like texted Russell Wilson one time. Like that was just his quarterback. Right? Nobody like really got along with Russ because it was like Russ is in his own like headspace compared to the rest of the league.
It's Aaron Rodgers light in my eyes, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. Let's talk a little bit about the NFC playoff picture. A little less exciting, but let's touch on it and then we'll jump into the next one and do picks here. So San Francisco is our 1 right now at 12-4. Dallas is 2 right now at 11-5. Detroit heads up at 3. Tampa Bay is 4. Philly is 5 currently. And the Rams are 6, with Green Bay heading up the end of the or bringing up the end of the pack at 7. Seattle, New Orleans are both, I believe, still in the hunt right now. They're 8-8 as well. So currently, as it stands right now, San Francisco gets the bye. Dallas would be playing Green Bay. Detroit would be playing the Rams, and Tampa Bay would be playing Philly. And for Dallas, that's spooky. Flashback to 2016, Rodgers versus Dak.
Yeah, but he has Jordan Love. It's Jordan Love now. It's a rookie team. A
But
rookie
we're
team.
talking about Dakota Rain Prescott.
Is
like-
this their first time in the playoffs? The Packers with Jordan Love.
This is his first year.
Yeah, it's his first year. It's gonna be tough going into the playoffs, especially in the NFL. It's I don't think they're gonna upset the Cowboys. It's just like you need experience with that. I mean, unless you're Patrick Mahomes, right? Like it's very tough to be excellent in the later half of the year.
Yeah, what's scarier about this is currently Tampa Bay's going to be hosting a playoff football game against Philly, and that means second round we're going to see Philly versus the Niners.
Oof. Yeah, the Phillies defense has been absolute shambles. Like, but I don't know how they hit it so well at the beginning of the year. I think it was just because their offense was just able, because we've always talked about this. They weren't really blowing out any teams. They were winning by like a touchdown or two, or maybe even like last 2-minute drives. So I guess that's kind of how they hit it. But now we're really seeing like they have one of the worst defenses in the league right now going into there. So I don't know. Going up against high-powered offenses, I don't think they're making the Super Bowl this year. I think they're out.
The question is, will they rise to the occasion? Because we see now the Niners are beatable. They are beatable. Like
If
they
you have a
even showed
great
us that.
defense, if you have a great defense.
Sure, but the Niners had some injuries this last week. So I don't know. The playoffs are going to be pretty interesting. The other one here is a feel good story. I don't think they go anywhere, but feel good story for the Rams. Right now it's 6, 9-7. Obviously the issues, missing Kyron Williams for a big portion of the year, Puka, or missing Cup too for a big portion of the year, and Puka being, that guy, and then Matt Stafford, of course, just continuing the Matt Stafford story of just getting obliterated every third play in the pocket, and just taking it, getting up and slinging the rock. So that's going to be a fun story to watch there. They're playing Detroit.
Yeah,
It'll
but
be
I think they
interesting to
look I think they look more dangerous than ever. I think the injuries were kind of good for them, right? Because they had a great run game, they had a great running back, and they also had a great wide receiver. They lost both of them, and then Puka emerges as another weapon that they can use, and now they have all their pieces back together. And there was a point where Matthew Stafford was out, and the offense was still operating. So now they have everything back together. I don't think there's many injuries on the Rams right now heading
No,
into the season. And these are the guys that were just at a Super Bowl. So if there's any team to look out for, it is the Rams right now.
I just
That's
don't
the
think
crazy part is that the Rams seem like an underdog, but they just like won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. But they're kind of, and I mean, I know it's because they like cashed out on their Super Bowl year, bought all these players, and now they lost them all because their contracts were only a year long or whatever. But it is kind of funny that they're like an underdog, even though they're like a recent Super Bowl champion.
Well, but the thing for me is they're the Chargers, but they are going into the playoffs healthy. Like the Chargers were a really papery team. Like on paper, they looked really good, and but at the same time, they're older. So I don't know. I just don't think the Rams will make much noise. This game against Detroit could be interesting, but even if they make it to the second round, they're going to get blasted by whoever it is that they're playing. The top 3 seeds is what the Rams are going to be seeing. One of those top 3 seeds, they're going to move. Probably they might move a little bit. I don't know, but I just don't see them beating a Dallas, a Detroit, or a San Francisco, depending on where they get to.
I pray to the Lord Almighty Dallas loses in the first round.
If they lose to Green Bay, that's going to be
I would love
funny.
it so much. Oh my goodness. The amount of videos I'm gonna drop that week just ripping into the Cowboys and their fans. That's something I figured out. I don't hate any team. I only hate their fans. And I have a hard time saying things good about people's teams because then they're in the flipping comments going, yeah, Dak Prescott's the best quarterback ever. And I'm just sitting there like, and they just keep going.